And welcome to the September meeting of the West Glamorgan Archives Committee. Before we commence with the meeting, I'd just like to make an announcement of some rather sad news in that we've had notice that Mr. Wayne John, who was the head librarian in Neath Talbot Council, sadly passed away very recently. He was a committee member for many years. Some will know him, but perhaps the newer members of the committee won't know him. So I'm just going to ask Andrew just to say a few words about him and his connection with the Archives Committee. Andrew.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it's very sad news. I've first met Wayne probably over 20 years ago when I used to work in the then Neath Archives Access Point in Neath Library. And we knew him as a gentleman, a pleasant person to know, and all of our dealings with him were positive, courteous and pleasant, and we'd like to extend our sympathies to his family and to all his colleagues in Neath Talbot and all the way across the library sector.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think it would be appropriate to record our condolences in the minutes and really to convey our appreciation of the work that he did and his contribution to the committee. Thank you. Do we have any apologies for absence, please, Gareth?
Yes, Chair, from Councillor Just Pritchard, Wayne Carpenter, Suzanne Ranks, Chris Williams, Dr. Louise Miskell and Chris Saunders.
Thank you very much. Are there any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interests, please? No, none. Thank you. The next item is to approve and to sign the minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on Friday, the 13th of June. May I have your approval that they are a correct record of that meeting? Thank you very much. And Andrew, are there any matters which you wish to mention which are not on the agenda?
No.
No. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then I hand over to you, please, Andrew, for your report.
Thank you very much, Chair. If we start with the statistics, this is now the first meeting, the fifth meeting that I've reported to, and at each of them we've been reporting that overall the figures are going up, and this is no exception. When you unpick them a bit, some of them are down, some of them are up, but overall it's up. So fewer visiting the search room in Swansea, many more visiting the search room in Neath. The Antiquarian Society have had an exhibition about Neath Castle. Very commendable. It's very good to see that. And my colleagues tell me that a number of the people coming in during the time when the search room there is open were coming in to see the exhibition. So that's very successful. Regrettably, we've had a problem with the internet in Neath for the last couple of weeks. It's gone off again. Members will remember the great saga before. It's not easy. In the longer term, we're going to look for a different solution, because the problem is if it goes down, you have to do battle with the helpline. They then tell you to do the same things every time. They don't want to bring out an engineer, and because we're only there on particular days, we're there on Mondays and we're there on Thursdays, they'll tell us to do something which we'd have to wait till the next time we're there to do. I want to assure members that we're doing our best, and also to assure the Neath Antiquarian Society that we're doing our best. And well, I'm aware that there are concerns in the society about what the impact will be. All I can say is we are doing our best, and we are in their hands to some extent. But as I say, in the longer term, we'll look at something a little more sustainable, because this isn't the best thing. If there are any problems, we're up against the same sort of thing. Audiences for off-site visits.
Sorry, could I possibly come in there a sec? If there are problems, Andrew, would you mind sending me an email outlining it, and maybe I can chase it up with our IT department as well for you.
Thank you. Yes, I mean the issue is at the moment that we pay for and provide the internet access there, which is why I haven't been in touch with you already. But yes, I do want to talk to you about that. That
Yeah,
would be,
I'm
be
assuming
fine.
you've got an SLA in place with them, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's you know, if you want me to back you up there, just forward on some of the conversations you've had, and I'll try and help as well.
Thank you. Major gains in group visits. I'll be talking a little bit more about those in a bit. Fewer documents issued in Swansea, more documents issued in Neath, more postal and email inquiries dealt with. Hits to the website are down, but then page views on Ancestry are up. But overall, it's more engagement than in the same quarter last time round.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions or observations on that part of the report? No, thank you. Well, it's good to see that the engagement is increasing. It's always positive when we see numbers going up. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. So unpicking the talks and seminars, there have been but two. One for a primary school in Swansea, St Joseph's, and then there's a very big one at Dŵr Comprehensive School in Neath. Now, I hope that Neath Talbot members notice that we are engaging with a Neath Talbot school, and aren't we engaging with them? We saw the whole of a year's worth of pupils from Dŵr school. It's a sort of ongoing partnership between Cadw and the school to encourage the pupils there as local people to value and understand Neath Abbey, and it's something that we're very supportive of. The idea being to reduce, you know, the potential for antisocial behaviour and damage to a fantastic monument, and to increase appreciation and love for it. As you no doubt well aware, we hold some of Neath Abbey's charters. In fact, I think the majority of the extant charters of Neath Abbey. And so what we were doing was we were explaining, you know, what the charter was, how it was made, what it was like, what it says. And we're explaining that actually in the undercroft of the Abbey, and it gave an added extra sort of flavour to the day which the pupils spent in the Abbey. We're very glad to do it, and we'll carry on with that if they do it again next year, which I believe they will. And we've also been asked, will we put on engagement events for the pupils in the school and also in the archives? And of course we said we will. We're very happy to do that. Couple of seminars and events for other groups. Emma Laycock delivered a talk to a seminar group at Cardiff University on women in the industrial landscape. And then in the middle of July, we hosted the launch. They do two launches, actually. They've done one with us the last 2 years, so we've done it again. The launch of the Royal Institution of South Wales's annual publication, Minerva, the Swansea History Journal. And it struck us that hosting launches like this is a good thing to do, and we aim to do that going forward for local historians who've written books based on items in our collections, to encourage them by hosting a launch event for them and showing them how it can be done and so on. So we've got another one of those in the pipeline, which I'll be hopefully reporting on at the next one of these meetings. And then we continue to host meetings of the Glamorgan Family History Society and provide a short talk for members. I should say, when we first started doing this, the Swansea branch of the Glamorgan Family History Society was small and few in number, but it's doubled and doubled again over the time we've been hosting them. And it's very nice to see because, as you know, I've mentioned before, they've been supportive to us over the years, and it's good to be able to give back to them by offering them a place to meet and some encouragement. And just before coming out, I was in the search room, and 2 of their members were there with another one to come, working on indexing school registers. And it's good work that they do, and we're glad to support them in that.
Thank you, Andrew. Are there any questions or observations on item 2 of Andrew's report? No? I'm going to say it's very good to see that engagement with Dura-Felin. Let's hope it stimulates further interest in other schools as well, because that would be fantastic if that was a catalyst for, you know, encouraging other schools as well. Perhaps when schools get to hear about it, they will take up that as well. But yeah, great to see, and the expectation of ongoing engagement as well, which is also good.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Andrew.
Other engagement and joint working. So we've been engaging with various groups with regard to oral history projects. As you know, that's a personal interest of mine. I think oral history is an excellent way of helping groups, particularly marginalised groups, to express their own ideas about their history. And we do a certain amount of work to try to encourage groups to use the equipment that we've got. We inherited it from a Gower oral history recording project that took place in 2017, I think it was. And rather than have the equipment rust up on a shelf, we thought we'd offer it for use by local groups, and a number of them have taken us up on that over time. There's the group in Wanaloedd, the Wanaloedd group, they're old school friends, and they started meeting together to write their memories. And I suggested, well, why wouldn't they like to have a go at recording them? And with fear and trembling, they took up the equipment, and then discovered that it wasn't as bad as it looked. And I've helped them out with one particular recording in Welsh, and they're having great fun with it, and it's all good memories of school and of changes in Wanaloedd over the years and so on. It's all good stuff. The other one is the Burton Bont group, who are based in Pontrhydyfen, and as the name suggests, it's all to do with Richard Burton and Pontrhydyfen. So they're a group who are collecting memories of great man himself, and also of the community that he was from, and we're very glad to be supporting them in that. Then our archive assistant Fionn Kidwell, who is the most usual member of staff you'll see in the Neath Candace Institute, has set up and has been running an oral history project based in Neath to collect local people's memories, based loosely around food, but other things come out of it as well. So she's had some very interesting recording sessions with various members of the community there who've got some very interesting stories. These are things which they don't disappear into the ether. The recordings are then held by us, and they'll be indexed by our volunteers and made available in our search room. And it's a sort of little growing project that we've had for quite some years.
Any comments, observations? I do think having the equipment, Andrew, what a great resource that is for community groups, and it will encourage, let's hope, others to do these oral recordings, because there's something really sort of special, isn't there, about seeing and hearing the spoken word and seeing people talk about their own experiences. And I think the last one that comes to mind is the VJ Day recording, which Peter Hall did.
Yes.
For that event, and how wonderful it was to see the veterans speaking about their experiences. and how it brought to life, because you hear the emotion in the voice, and it's personal to them, and it's something very precious, isn't it, and very special to be able to see and hear what people have gone through in the past. And it's also so easy to use, I guess, isn't it? Once you know how to do it, anybody can do it, more or less.
That's it.
So yes, it's great, and let's hope that let's hope it continues. Yes, sorry.
Lyndon.
Yes, Lyndon, would you like to come in?
Thank you. Yeah, but that's really great work and interesting. The Bishopston Comprehensive School have been doing podcasts with people in the village, elderly people, young people, and talking about the history of the village, about them, and so on. And that's been going really well. What I've suggested to them is that they put that together in a film, and we will show it as a trailer at the start of a community cinema that we've set up. So that'll be really interesting and put together. But I will have a word with them about possibly storing that stuff, or letting you have a copy of the podcast that they do, because it is local history. And in the same way, and I funded the first one from my community fund, we've been doing similar things with elderly people in the village to talk about their recollections of the village. And we, in fact, very pleased we did that, because one of the people that was interviewed sadly passed away, and we would have lost all that. But that's been done again, and I've suggested to them that could be stored at the archive. It can go on the community council website in that case, but always very good to get it with you as well, because it's real down-to-earth local history.
Absolutely. Well, we'd be very grateful to receive those. And perhaps if you could put me in touch with anyone who needs to, who could make the decision, we can get the dialogue going, and I can explain how we store things, how we ensure that access is there, but that copyright is protected, and so on. So
Yeah,
we'd be very glad to.
Absolutely, because it is real local history, really. And in the case, of that gentleman who sadly passed, we would have lost all that knowledge, and he knew the names of every field in Bishopston and all the farms, and we found out there was something like 15 places producing lava bread. Which is quite extraordinary, but all down to Colin, and all to credit for him. But no, most certainly. But that is real, parish pump local history.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lyndon. And I think that's really sort of demonstrates, doesn't it, the richness of our local history, and how important it is to collect it. And writing all that down would take such an age, wasn't it? But actually, just speaking about it, you can record, and for posterity, far more information. So great. Let's hope it's becomes more popular.
Indeed. Thank you. Right, moving on to preparations for moving to a storva. We have focused on what we do, the things that we are tasked with, and that has been making sure that we're prepared for the move. So we've spoken before about how our approach has been to pick the low-hanging fruit, do the easy things first, and it's got progressively harder. So we're now dealing with the very most difficult things, very, very large maps, very, very large flat items, and so on. We have quantified what the last little bits of work are that need doing. We made a list of outstanding actions, and we've been working through them. We've done about 3/4 of them, and we do believe that we'll have it all finished by the end of this month. And then we'll check the barcodes to make sure everything's properly recorded. There are 4 kilometers of shelves full of all sorts of things. It's absolutely crucial that we are able to deal with the move in such a way that it's as streamlined as possible. Knowing where all that is absolutely crucial, because when someone asks for something, we don't want to be sitting there shrugging and saying, well, it's there somewhere. If you can come back to us in a couple of weeks, we may have got it. We need to be able to say, that's where it is. Here it is. You can look at it. The packaging is there to make sure that everything is properly packaged for the move and that it can be moved without fear of damage. And these things are absolutely crucial, once again, to making sure we can carry on and that everything is safe in the meantime. Now, building work continues. It's obviously a collaborative project, and it's not for me to seek to announce any dates for opening or otherwise. And that's something that will be announced by the council as a whole. But the building work continues, and we believe it's on track to open towards the end of the year. I thought it'd be a bit more helpful to explain how our move is going to work, and I hope I can do so in a way that makes sense, because I found in the past that it's something I've thought about so much and talked over with colleagues so much. We know what we're on about, but I need to make sure that it makes sense to people who have heard it for the first time, rather than just sort of going through the shorthand that goes on in my head, if that makes sense. So basically, there are two elements of the move. First of all, there's the move of what you would see if you visited the service, so the contents of the search room. The second thing is the contents of the strong room, and obviously the search room, there are the books on the shelves, there's PCs and other equipment, and that's a relatively straightforward move. Those of you with long memories will remember the Civic Centre project in 2006-07, and we packed up everything there on a day. It was moved overnight, no, over the weekend actually, and then we unpacked it on the Monday and opened on the Tuesday with barely a hair out of place. So that's not a massive deal. And also the way we run the search room now, if you come into us and ask for something, we won't go leaping onto the shelves to grab a paper catalogue. We'll look online for you to work out what it is that you need, and then we can order it up accordingly. So in a sense, we can actually run the search room whether all the stuff is in it or not. It'll mean there are fewer printed resources available, but it means that anyone who needs to access documents will be able to do so straight away. So there will come a day when the building is handed over by the contractors to the council, and the move of the search room will be scheduled in, and then there will be a time, I don't know exactly how long, when the contents of the search room will be in the new place, but we'll still be operating out of the old place. Then the new premises that are Storva will open, and we'll be operating out of there, because I think the idea is that the Civic Centre will close at the same time. So at that stage, we'll continue to provide a service. We'll do so by asking members of the public to order things in advance, and they'll be brought over the following day. People can then email us and tell us, well, I'd want to look at this, and so we'll bring it over, and so on. And if people want things, just want a single thing, we can scan copies for them, and so on, like we used to in lockdown, to make sure that people saw all the things that they needed to. The strong rooms will need to be tested to ensure that all the measures put in place to ensure that the temperature and humidity can be controlled are actually working. They do an air tightness test to make sure that there isn't a breeze blowing through it like there often is in our current strong rooms. And it's really to make sure that the environment is stable before they can be filled before the strong rooms can be filled with documents. After that, the shelving will be erected there. We're not going to be using the same shelving because it's mobile shelving in our current premises, and it won't be mobile in a Storva. It'll be static shelving, so it'll be all new shelving. That will take several weeks to put up. It's an awful lot of shelves, 4 kilometres. That's not done in a day. So the long and the short of it is that there'll be quite an appreciable gap between the opening of a Storva and the finishing of the moving of the collections. We don't know how long it'll take to move the collections. I've said rather weakly that we believe that the move of the archive collections will begin in January and last for several weeks. But during that period, we'll make every effort to ensure that the public have access to the records. We're not going to do what we might do, which is just to say, oh, we can't do anything, we're just going to sit here, you're all going to have to wait. We've worked so hard over this period to ensure that we continue to engage with groups, to continue to build our service and to build our user base after the sort of doldrums of COVID. And we're not going to do that only to say, oh, you've enjoyed coming, but you can't come for the next however many months. So we're going to continue to provide a service and welcome people to our new premises and be as proactive as we can in ensuring that they can access the records that they need. And I'll say as well, it should be noted that Neath Antiquarian Society archives are not affected by the move in Swansea. And it would be unfair to say, oh, we can't do that because of the move. So we're going to carry on with that to ensure that normal opening hours are maintained in Neath.
Thank you, Andrew. Are there any questions or observations on that part of the report? Anybody like to? Elliot.
Thank you, Chair. I think just really to thank Andrew and the team for the hard work that's clearly going into planning the move. And I think just to make sure that it's as seamless as possible to the public, so that there isn't that interruption of service, but also making sure that the collections are protected. And I think we can all appreciate that to do that in the best possible way, to give that time for that to happen is really good. I think just in terms of the building itself, there's clearly a lot of sequencing to happen in terms of how the building itself opens, in terms of the library as well, moving their contact centre and the other services. So there will be some communications around that. Currently planning around sort of beginning of December, so look for that, and that just allows sort of the Christmas market setup to settle down as well. But I think things are on course. I know it has been mentioned previously in the committee about members visiting, and I think Tracy McNulty is just working, I think, with yourself, Andrew, and the regeneration team just to find when the best time for that would be. I think just to have an appreciation of where the archive space is and how that operates. So I think we'll keep on top of that to plan that in. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thanks, Elliot. Any other questions? And quite clearly, this is a complex project, as you rightly say, Elliot. And things do have to be done in stages. And it's rather exciting, isn't it? Because it is coming to the end of what has been, a mammoth undertaking. And it's going to have huge benefits for the city centre, but also, for the archives and other services to the public. And yes, just like to reiterate, I'm sure the whole of the committee has every confidence, Andrew, in you and your team for a service which continues to deliver what it's there to deliver during this time. And it'll only be temporary, is the thing. If there are any hitches, then it's going to be quite understandable, isn't it? Because does everything ever work perfectly? As much, you can do as much planning as you like, but there's always something that's a little hitch along the way. So but in a few months' time we'll be in those new premises, and we look forward to seeing it, because when everything's in situ, and you're right about the visit, it's going to be the most appropriate time, isn't it, to visit. and there's no point in going there until we can actually see something that is going to reflect what it's going to look like going forward. So yes, our thanks to you and your team, Andrew, and please do convey committee's thanks, because it's hard work, isn't it? 4 kilometres worth of stuff to pack up is quite awesome. So thank you very much.
I should say a tribute to my team from me as well, because everyone's worked very hard on all of this, and there's been sort of with our little list of things to finish off, there's been wholesome competition between members of staff to see who's going to do as many, because they all put their names next to the thing they've done. But no, they've, you know, I'll be down there, somebody will be up a ladder doing something, and there's been some very hard work put into it, and none of this could have been done without the team I have. Right, moving on to archive service accreditation. A brief note once again, as committee members will be aware, we achieved accredited status in 2016, but then 3 years later we were moved to provisionally accredited status in 2019, over the concerns that there were at the time about the future of the service and so on. And we have to reapply for this annually. So an application was submitted to the accreditation panel back in July, outlining, amongst other things, the progress that had been made with the provision of new premises in Astorva, and the confidence we had in how that will answer the concerns that the accreditation panel had about the whole thing. There was also things to report on about conservation and about digital preservation, and as committee members are aware, we've reported on the progress we've made in that particular area over the seasons over the last year. So anyway, the application was successful, and the provisionally accredited status has been continued for another year. We will, of course, apply for fully accredited status. It's not simply a question of slinging in a form and they say, great, you can have your fully accredited status back. We'll have to put in a complete application in due course. It is a grueling process, and one not to be undertaken lightly, as I remember those miserable evenings as the sun went down and I was still there typing these answers to these questions. It's a reassuringly rigorous process, and it does make you think about the service and the way it's provided. But it's not appropriate to do it when we're just moved in. It's more appropriate to let the whole thing bed in, because we'll be asked to evidence, obviously, what we do, and evidencing it from our civic centre premises isn't going to cut much ice. They'll want to know what we're doing and how we're doing it there. So obviously, we will submit a full application in due course, and hopefully successfully, as last time.
Thanks, Andrew, and good news that the provisional status has been extended, and again, it's just patience, isn't it? Because you put the application in due course, but again, we just be patient until that moment is right. So thank you. Any questions on that part? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. A brief update on the online catalogue. I think at the last one I breezily said that it'd probably be finished and everything would be fine by this committee meeting. It ain't quite there yet. We're nearly there, but we're not quite there. There have been a few delays from our IT end and also from the provider's end, partly to do with summer holidays and other things. But we're very nearly there. It's simply a question of getting all the branding in place to get the look of it right. And although we've applied the translation elements and the Welsh language aspect, because it will be a fully bilingual interface, it hasn't been applied at the supplier's end yet. But we do think it will be there by the next meeting. But we're going to say we hope it'll be there by the next. No, I do very much hope that it will be there by the next meeting, and it'd be lovely if we could unveil it at the same time as unveiling our move to Astorga, and new premises, new catalogue, and that sort of thing. Yes. It's not going to be quite like those DIY projects where they say, "Oh, we'll be in by Christmas," but which one? You know.
Yeah. Any questions? No. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Staffing matters, quite a big chunk this time round. So the main thing is it's been a massive knock on. So Kim left, and as his deputy, I took over his role, and then Emma Laycock, one of the archivists, took over my role, leaving a sort of cascading vacancy, which has sort of rolled down the down the line. We believe that is now filled. This is Emily Hewitt, who is currently an archivist at Swansea University's Richard Burton Archives, who will be taking up that post on the 1st of October. We're very glad to have her in post. She's local for a start. She's from Gower, and she started her archives career with us many years ago, volunteering, and she brings an awful lot of experience in a whole lot of different areas of archives. She's a passionate and very competent exponent of oral history, and she'll be heading up our oral history collections as time goes by. So obviously that's an interest of mine, and it's very good to have somebody who will bring that amount of expertise with her. So we're lucky to have her. And also, having been a member of staff at Richard Burton Archives for a long time, she also knows about the collections there. So having someone who can advise about what they're likely to have as well as what we're likely to have from an insider's perspective is very valuable. Our archive trainee, Lily Britton, has finished with us just a few days ago, and she's about to start the archives course in Aberystwyth. We're very sad to see her go. She's been just the trainee we needed for this during a fairly challenging year. And her replacement is Fionn Titcombe, who is also local. She's from Craigheaven Park. She started last Friday, and checking in with my colleagues just now, my colleague Amy says she's learned how to do document production in a day. So she seems very competent, someone who's going to learn very quickly. Once again, that sounds like just the sort of trainee we need for this year. And I'm very pleased to have her there. And the next bit is a request for permission from the committee to use the training reserve to fund an additional trainee for 2026 on an 8-month contract. The training reserves stand at a very, very healthy figure, and enough to fund trainees for many years to come. So what we would like to do is to fund an additional trainee for this year. Basically, the idea is we need extra help to sort out the strong rooms once we've moved. So we would like permission from the committee to use the reserves to recruit a trainee. Hopefully we can get that if the committee is willing. We can recruit them by January, and the post would run till August. In other words, in enough time for them to do what they need to do, and then get a place on one of the archive courses. I would say to the committee that there are very few archive traineeships left in the country. Back in the 90s, when I was with a callow youth and applying for these things, there were dozens of them. Most places did them. I believe we're the only one in Wales, and to have two locally would be fantastic. It would be a fantastic experience for an extra person, and I very much hope that the committee is in favour of this.
Thank you, Andrew. So it is our decision to make, within our remit, to make a decision on the reserves and how we use it. So do I have members' approval for, thank you, Elliot, thank you. Everybody online, all approve of that? Yes, Good. Well, that's excellent news. And I do think, well, first of all, there's so many positive things. I think that you are able to attract such high caliber people is a huge reflection on the service, the reputation that West Glamorgan Archives has. I'm sure that is a great pull for people. The fact that these people are local, these young people are local, again, that's great, isn't it? One of the very few to provide these traineeships. Again, that shows how we as a committee and you as a service are, you know, looking ahead to the future, because only by investing in people and their training and development will we keep these skills and knowledge and alive. Because if these apprenticeships aren't as available, the people will just diminish, won't they, the numbers in future. So I think we, you know, looking long term as well, this is a very important use of the funds, and yes, an essential. Getting all those the collection back in there and all sorted. So yes, it would be good. So thank you all very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, committee. That's brilliant.
Okay.
Sort of tail end things of the report now. There's a list there of the professional working group meetings and training events that we've attended in the last quarter there. And then there is the list of archives received during the period. There's nothing hugely spectacular in the list this time round, but there it all is anyway for everyone to see.
Any questions or observations? The list is shorter of acquisitions, isn't it? Normally we have 4 or 5 pages, don't we? So.
It's often a bit longer. Yes, and that was noted at the last one as well. It's just the way things are. These things do fluctuate a little bit.
Peaks and troughs.
I know there have been a few instances where there have been depositors of potentially quite large collections, and we have said to them, look, if you could hold off until the new year, then that would be much appreciated. But that's not enough to make it appreciably shorter. I don't doubt that once we do move to new premises, more publicity and so on will mean people go, aha, now is the time to pop in with this or that. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your report, Andrew. Once again, our thanks to you and your staff. You've had a really busy period preparing for the move. You're going to have an even busier period over the next few months. So thank you once again. And a couple of times, well, perhaps 2 or 3 times during the course of your report, you mentioned about the work of volunteers and what they contribute to the Archives Committee. So perhaps to record our thanks to those very willing volunteers who certainly augment and enhance your service and what we're able to provide for the public. So yes.
Yes, indeed. But both on two fronts. First of all, there's our volunteers in Swansea who work not in a frontline capacity, but in a sort of value-added capacity. So it's indexing, minor listing projects, and similar things. We've had a whole lot of boxes in for the last consignment of books that need to be boxed. They come in flat packed. So a volunteer is coming in this afternoon and will be folding those up. So it's those little things which do make a huge difference. The other thing, of course, is Neath Antiquarian Society volunteers who help us to staff the service on a Thursday, without whom we couldn't do it because we can't single man in a building like that. So it's much appreciated there as well.
Yeah, they all do a fantastic job, don't they? Yes, we're very lucky. Well, thank you all for your contributions this morning, and I draw the meeting to a conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you.